Hello, welcome back to my channel. I have on my desk the stack of stuff for day 2 for Creep on June. These are, the digital papers are from Tracy Fox Creative. They're part of her Creep on June collaboration that she does for the month of June. You can find the papers for them in her Etsy shop and on her website. I forgot to mention that in my last video. So I want to work on day 2. And I was futzing about this morning and had kind of a little bit of an idea. These are the way they come in the kit. So you have this little, almost like a background page. You have a little pocket that goes with the background page. You have a card, and then you have the little tag. And then I created like more of my little AI stuff. Perhaps that's Lenore. Not sure if those are worms in her hair. Let's just not go there. As I was kind of like trying to figure out how I wanted it, I was thinking it would be really cool to put the pocket underneath the flap from yesterday. I thought that would be kind of fun. And then as I was like, my original idea was, well, and it's my current idea, is that I would put it so that it comes as close to the edge as I can, and then it becomes then like a flip so that the page goes like so and continues on. But then I realized that this is actually exactly the same. Okay, are we doing this again in your head, Linda? Perhaps I have that upside down. Perhaps when I was laying that, oh, there it goes. No. Oh my gosh. At one point in time, I had looked at this. Oh, that's because this might be the wrong pocket. No. Oh. Well, at one point in time, I had looked at this and I thought, well, they were identical. That the two, yeah, that does. That fits right over top of that. Like so. Only the pocket didn't fit on. All right, we're doing it again where we do that thing in our head and that it doesn't go the way I wanted it. Because it kind of looks like a shadow pocket, like it doesn't, like you can see like it blends right in, but I was sure it blended in on this side perfectly, like so, somehow. And so oh, this is the original. That's why. Okay, that's the original. Please ignore me. Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah, so this is the original. And wow, it's really hard when you got like 6 pages on your desk and you're like, yeah. So you see how that blends right in. However, if I did it that way, for one thing, the pocket isn't underneath the flip. For another thing, the page is too big and doesn't fit underneath the flip. And at the fold, I was like, well, that wasn't what I had in my head. What I had in my head that would be fun would be to make it bigger so that it came underneath and I can use this to create an extra journal section. But I want the pocket on this side, like so. So it hides on this side, underneath the flap from yesterday. So I had to play around with it a bit. I made this at about I don't know, 98%, 99% of the original, so I made it larger than what it normally would be. Left the tags the same size, and left this the same size because the tag will fit in the pocket no matter what. I'm just going to put my pages over on the side. The other thing I like to do when I'm doing a pocket is I like to put a little bit of extra on my pocket where the top edge is, mostly because I'm just using copy paper and I want it to give a little extra sturdiness. So I'm just using a little of the offcut from this piece of paper just to back that before I notch it out. And just put some glue on there. You don't, if you do something like this, you don't need a very wide piece of paper. You just need it wide enough that it can go along the top. And line it up like so. And you can burnish it down a little bit with a bone folder. And then cut off any excess bits. And realistically, you don't need it to come in where your gusset is for your pocket. It can be shorter than that because otherwise it causes a bit of extra bunching and you don't need that. It's mostly to make the top sturdier where the where things are going to go in and out of a pocket. And then I'm just going to cut that back. Like so. Now I have a little gusseted pocket. This would be a little bit bigger than the original pocket. You can see that it's just a tiny bit bigger because I made the page bigger, but that's not going to be a big deal. And then what I want to do is line it up so that it basically becomes, and oh shoot, it's not actually going to work with this one. The stripes don't line up. Oh, because on the other one, on the original, the stripes lined up perfectly, see? Like you can't even tell. Oh, maybe they don't. No, they do. And that was kind of what I was hoping for. I figured out what I did wrong. I printed two of these, one larger than the other. So these two go together, and these two go together. That's what it is. So this one has the correct size pocket, and it has the gussets. When I printed fit to page, I lose the gusset on the left-hand side, which might work. Makes for a bit bigger pocket, but it also makes for a bigger page, which I might go with. It means it goes all the way to the edge of that page. Let me just figure that out, which one would work the best. Because what I want is I want it to go as close to the edge as I can get it here, but I need it to go over. You can see the fold line of the signature is going to be about there. So if I go with a smaller paper, I still have about an inch over the fold line, and then I can attach something here and make it bigger, which will work. And I don't mind that. So that's the smaller of the two. No, that's the bigger of the two. So that gives me plenty of room on that side. So then the smaller of the two only gives me that much room. So let's go with, I'll go with a bigger one then. Ignore all the faffing. Now I can move my page out of the way and lose everything and go, where did I put that? Move this so that it fits. And I can see that I need to move the gusset on the bottom up just a tiny bit, which is fine because this pocket is bigger than the original. So I'll trim off this little edge bit up as well so that it is going to be like a perfect mitered corner in the edge. And then if I glue that down, you're not even going to be able to tell there's a pocket on there. The other thing you can do on something like this, like you don't have the miter on this side, if you want a miter like you have, or a gusset like you have, you can add your own little strip of paper on this side and make a gusset. I don't think I'm going to because that's right at the edge and I've got a lot of other things going on that page. So I'm just going to leave it like this. The other thing is then if it hangs over a tiny bit on this side of the page, I can trim it off and not have to worry about it. I'm going to do the same thing I normally do. Excuse my arm if that's in the way. I am going to trim these gussets back. Make them just a tiny bit slimmer. You don't have to do that. And then add glue and glue. And be really careful here so that I get that lined up so that it's invisible. Or as invisible as possible. Give it a good burnish down. Now you will kind of see that there's a pocket there because there's a little bit of a gap at the top. You're going to get a lot better pocket if you actually put glue here. Yeah. Let's do that. Do I have enough glue on my gusset? Yes, I do. I wonder it was gapping horrifically. There, that's better. Much better. All right, put all my extra little pieces of paper that are not going to be used somewhere else. Now, what I can do is I can come in here and kind of use the fold in that other piece of paper to create a little bit of a crease so I know where that page edge is going to be on the right hand side so that I don't go any further than that edge of the page. In the kit is the equivalent of a tag, and it's like a double-sided tag. So I'm just going to fold that in half, like so. Burnish that flat. I left a little white edge on the top there. I figured it would be easier to cut that once I glue everything together, rather than trying to pull it, like cut the little notch out and then discover I keep cutting little bits off and bits off, trying to make it the right angle. You could use glue stick for this. I find glue stick warps really badly, and it's an annoyance of mine, so I'm not going to use glue stick. And do a little tiny bit of trimming so that there is no white on either side. At this point in time, you could ink if you're an inker. Or even if you're not an inker, let's go for it. Live dangerously. Scorched timber. Here we come. Do I have? No, I don't. Ooh, nice. I'm quite new to inking. Very new to inking. What made me become an inker is scorched timber. Oh my gosh, I love this color. It's like dark and grungy and very, very, yeah. You could use, I think tea dye would look really good with this. But that scorched timber looks like a bit of like burning paper and just full on. You could also grunge up around this. And then I was thinking, that's why the AI thing with the basically what amounts to Lenore. That's not from the Raven, definitely not from the Raven, but her image deeply lies. Oh, you know, the Raven, Lenore, quoth the Raven, nevermore. I'm going to put this just on a side. I think I'll put it on this side because it stands out more. And putting that in there kind of defeats the whole point of making that look like it doesn't exist. But you know, that's the way it goes. And I'm going to add a little bit of that ink to the edge of that. Even though I totally don't normally, I'm not one of those that wants my ephemera to show out, like go jumpy from my background, but again, let's just do things differently. Trying to think if I have, I'd like a little, what would make it look like I'd put a crocodile in there, but I want it flat. I thought I had some plain ones. I found some, yeah, bright yellow are not gonna work. The teal are not gonna work. The red, I think these could work. I got these at a thrift store for a whopping $1. There are 560 of them in there. I think that might work. We have some parchment paper. And I bought some alcohol inks on Temu. Who knows? Temu alcohol inks. Could be a disaster. They're all metallic. Like there's brown, dark gray, coffee, deep gold. Ruby red. Moment of silence as I sing. Yeah, anybody that's watched Fifth Element multiple times, like I might have in the 90s, knows where my brain went when I said ruby red. Bronze, because yes, bronze. Bronze makes the steampunk girl heart very, very happy. And then the other thing is I got these at the thrift store on Friday for $1.99, and I think that would be really fun. That one right there. Never used. In the last week at the thrift store, I got 2 sets of Stampers Anonymous stamps. This one and pardon me, this one, both for $1.99. I got a set of 40 Neocolor 2 for $2.99, and a set of Derwent ink tents, ink blocks for $1.99. I might just be just a little bit. I'm going to get my stays on in Spiced Chai. I could have gotten a stamp block. Oh, look at this, pretty fun. I think the new ones, they have what it is on this little rubber part. So that you can kind of get an idea where your stamp is going. Those are kind of fun. Okay. That's step 1, bronze. Let's put a little pad on. Okay, do I put it on the pad or do I put it on the thing? Don't know. If I do this wrong, I'm really sorry. Anybody that's going, no, Linda, don't do it that way. Oh. Well, that worked for me. Oh my gosh, I like that. I think that works. And then, which one do I want to use? Guess it doesn't matter. Definitely one of the redder ones. See if we can get some mad tweezer skills going on. Okay, I think that worked. Kind of straight-ish. And oh, that got all over my fingers as if it was mica spray. Note to self, don't rub the thing. Get my crocodile, punch a hole in there. And now glue it down. That's not bad. Red and green. Wonder if I should have used one of the teal. Good thing about it being, you know, flat is I can go, I should have used one of the teal, and just go boom. Stay, stay, no, stay. Like so. That's better. And then on the other side, let's put our poor wormy Lenore. I also have this that I created. And I think I am going to cut that out. I did try to prep everything so I didn't do any fussy cutting or all of that. Try to make it a little bit shorter. Things never go to plan. And let's put this is just regular weight cheesecloth. You can buy it by large quantities on Amazon, and it's like very, very inexpensive. That's how I would recommend that you get cheesecloth, is just search cheesecloth on Amazon and buy whatever you can find. There are different weights to it. Some of it are really thick. Some of it is like this has a fairly, it's got a loose weave, but it's not really, really open. You can also buy cheesecloth at Dollar Tree and Dollarama that is like this and really, really gauzy. I use this one quite a bit. And then I dye it with Distress oxides and just the ink pads, not the spray, but you could use the spray as well. And when I'm doing something like cheesecloth, you can use Fabri-Tac. I use my Barely Arts. I do have some Fabri-Tac that I got at a thrift store, but I think it was really old when I got it, so it doesn't flow properly because it's hardened. Or like it's still fluid, but not very. And it's hard to use, so I just use my Barely Arts and it works fine. And then my poor little thing with the worms in her hair. It could be because, you know, she's never more. If you haven't ever listened to Vincent Price read The Raven, treat yourself and look it up on YouTube and give it a go. It is it's kind of a bit of magic. It's so good. I'm not centering that, mostly because I kind of want that cheesecloth a bit behind it. And then if you wanted to, if you put cheesecloth in there, you could come in really easily and just pull at it. Even with the glue, you can just kind of like distress the edges of it, pull it out, and like leave these bits if you wanted to leave them. I won't, because it will drive the seamstress in me a little bit insane. I have a really hard time with all the thread behind things and stuff. Like, yeah, it's not quite my aesthetic, but I think that's because, when you sew clothes for people, you trim off all those end bits, and it's like, yeah. So I could put this, I think I actually will. I'm going to put her so that it's like peeking out the front, and you see that Nevermore, and it kind of, you wonder what that is, and you pull it out, and there you've got Lenore, and then on the other side you have the whole Fair River. And this to me looks a little bit funny. It's like, it works, but it just, yeah, I think I like that a little better. Okay, so for day one, we have like our little flippy pocket. And you could, if you did something similar to this, you could just leave this as your page like this and have it on top, and that's quite fine. But I wanted it to be like, I don't know, interactive and different, so that it folds as one page, but it's kind of, it's not. Like, it's a bit weird and interactive and just a bit different. And then Lenore just being a little simple. You could put, like, I cannot find my Tracy labels. So let's put some like self-created labels on there. Because everything needs a label. That side. I don't know why my glue always like decides that it's going to be stuck right when I want to use it. What's on that? There. Now it's done. Yeah, so there, as I said. So that's day 1 and 2. I'm not sure, like I moved things around. I now see why people do all their signatures, like everything before they sew it in, because I had my pages all arranged the way I liked them, and then the first page didn't fit. So I may move pages around as I go along, but that's kind of that will give you an idea of a few things that you could do for day 1 and day 2. And until next time, I hope you have a lovely crafty day. Bye!